Morning, guys. Well, this is part two of, buying things for cents on the dollar. When I watched the other part, I neglected to mention there's a few things you have to do before you really can do this. And the first thing you have to basically do is you got to do some research into price. If you're going to buy a tool, it doesn't matter what it is. You don't want to buy a used tool for the same price as you can buy it new. It's been my experience over the years that some people will sell stuff at yard sales and at flea markets for about what they paid for them, or about what they're selling them for in the major box stores. And if that's the case, then there's no real savings to you, is there? So basically, you have to do your research. So you have to know what a particular tool costs new with taxes in. I'll give you an example, like S-Wing hammers. I know I'm plugging the S-Wing hammer thing pretty good. But an S-Wing hammer, you can buy one, normal price. It's $42, $43 plus taxes. So it's going to be the best part of $50. So if you come across an S-Wing hammer for $10, $5, $3, that's a pretty good deal. That's a spectacular deal. But if somebody's got it on for $35 and it's used in the condition, say, that I showed in the other video, I don't think I'd pay $35 for it, or $30, or $25, because I know the price limit. If I was going to pay that much money, I'd go buy a new one. Now, that's just one thing. Now, I'm going to buy a scroll saw this week, hopefully. I know that what the retail price for scroll saws are. I've identified 4 or 5 scroll saws in a price range I want to pay, between $35 and $50. They're the low-end scroll saws. But, if I was to see a DeWalt for $100, I'd buy it, because it's a $500 scroll saw. But that's 20 cents on the dollar. So, but I do know, I've gone and I've done my homework on the scroll saw. That's number one. Identify the price of what you're looking for. And number two is identify where you can find the stuff. Now, I've already mentioned yard sales and flea markets, or boot sales if you're in England. But you can also pick stuff up at, depending on what you're buying, sometimes I pick stuff up at the Salvation Army. I've also picked stuff up at various used places. Army surplus store. I went in an Army surplus store one time, and walked in, I couldn't believe it. There was silver solder flux and silver solder. Silver solder was going for like, it was going for like $1 a foot for this material, because I know I had bought it, and I when I had the business going, I was going through about 5 feet a year. Well, they had rolls of it. They had about 8 rolls. Not big heavy rolls, but we're probably looking at about 30-foot rolls. Silver solder. But he didn't know what it was. I did. So I got them for, I think it was $1 a roll. And I picked up 2 jugs of the flux, and I've got enough flux to last me the rest of my lifetime in little jars, because I'm still using the first jar that I bought back in the 80s. So, that's the kind of thing, you can, it's really quite amazing what you can pick up. That was in an Army surplus store. But I've gone into hawk shops. I've gone into pawn shops. Sometimes the pawn shops can be quite expensive. Um, they're paying pretty cheap for the stuff, and they put it on. And I've seen stuff in pawn shops that said, nah, dollar store stuff going for $3 or $4. But Salvation Army is a good place. Thrift stores. Another way to buy stuff is to talk to people. Like, I started looking for the scroll saw about 2 weeks ago. So everybody I've run into in the last 2 weeks, I've asked them, know somebody with a scroll saw, right? Wants to sell it, that type of thing. That's another way. So, and also you have Craigslist, eBay, Kijiji, and we have a thing called the Bargain Hunter, but some places they call it the Penny Saver or the Thrift Paper, whatever. You can always find stuff in them too. So, hunt down you got to hunt this stuff down. Now, having said all that, there's one final thing that you should be considering. When you identify what you want, right? You should have a little notebook. And you say, okay, I'm going to put together a half-inch socket set. And so you identify what you have, if you have any, and then you just list what you need. You need a ratchet, you need a 2-inch extension, a 6-inch extension, a 9-inch extension, you need power bar, you need metric sockets, you need English sockets, and then list the various sockets that you need. And as you buy them, you check them off. Because you don't want to go and end up with, when you're putting together a set, you don't want to end up with the same thing over and over again. Go out and it's great. You can buy 10 sockets, but they're all half-inch sockets or 3/4-inch sockets. You'll want to, do that. So, and the way to do that, just go to a catalog and, go to the Sears catalog or Canadian Tire or whatever, and look and see what they have there. So, and have that with you when you go, right? And that way you have an idea, and it's sort of like you go to a yard sale and you go, geez, do I need that? Yeah, okay. Let me look on my list. Oh yeah, I need that, and you can always put the retail price in it, so you got an idea, right? So I keep a list in my wallet. I don't have a notebook, but I should have a notebook. But I've got so many tools now. I don't have, it's like I'm not looking for a lot of things anymore. I'm looking for specific things. But when something jumps out at me, like I said, I got a weakness for bow saws. I got a weakness for hammers. I got a weakness for screwdrivers. And another thing, hardware, screws. You go to a yard sale and you see a bag of screws. What do you want for that? $2. Okay, right? That type of thing. Go for it, right? Same way with I was in a place and I got 3/4 of a keg of nails, $7. Another day for $5. The fencing staples. I got 3/4 of a box of fencing staples for $5. I mean, that's a good deal, right? And I mean, I just love to walk into a place and see a 3/4 of a keg of decking screws or gyprock screws. That would be fantastic. But anyway, I'm rambling on. I could talk about this all day. This is something I've really loved. I love tools, and I love it when I can hunt it down and get it for cents on the dollar. And one of the great things that I like about it is when you buy stuff used from a neighbor or from somebody across town that you saw in the newspaper. And Classifieds is another great place to find stuff. That's where I found my. I was looking for I wanted a cast iron, an older cast iron, 1950s, 1960s table saw, just a little one. And because most of the stuff is just little. And if I have to do any big jobs, I can either borrow or rent a bigger unit. But anyway, I'm looking in. Buddy has a cast iron, and it's one of the famous tool names, Central Tools or something. I forget the name of it. But anyway, it was a cast iron table saw, 7 1/4, no motor. All right. So I called him up and he said, "Yeah, come." And it was an older man. He would have been in his late 70s, early 80s, and he was preparing for death. He was getting rid of all his stuff from the shed. And I went out there, and there was what I was looking for. And I picked it up. Motors, it's on its second motor, and pickup motors for $3 at a yard sale. Use them until they die, right? But it's exactly what I wanted, because I had seen guys buy those $150 table saws, those aluminum things, aluminum and plastic, and either the motors go in them or the adjusting, they're all made of plastic. You know, your gears for moving it, angling it, they'll rot out. They'll just wear out. And so you throw it away. $150, you throw the piece of thing away or sell it at a yard sale before it gets too bad. So I wanted an old cast iron one with all metal parts, and that's what I got. And that thing will still be going long after I'm dead. But you know, that's what it's all about. It's like a hunting thing, right? And the beauty of it is, when you buy used, somebody says $35, $35. Oh yeah, there's no tax on it, right? You beat the sales tax. We have a 15% sales tax there. That's why I buy everything I can used. Right? I don't buy socks or underwear used. Just about everything else. And so buy used when you can. And the great thing about it is that if you can buy $500 worth of tools for $100, that's 20 cents on the dollar. So your $100 has just has the value of $500. And with a little bit of oil, doing the same thing. You know what? Like you saw in my video where I cleaned up the barrel with a little bit of oil and steel wool. You can do that with tools, right? It's just absolutely amazing, right? How nice they shine up. And so anyway, that's all I've got this morning. Right? It's pretty early. Flies are starting to come out. Yeah, the flies. Anyway, till the next time.